Yes, good afternoon, guys. I hope you're all doing good. I'll continue the discussion you know, um, from the previous class. I'll be sharing the screen. Hold on uh, for, uh, for a minute. Yeah, here we go. Yes, we'll wait for just 2 minutes. Let the guys join. Okay, so here we go. Let us start the discussion, guys. Um, yeah. So last class we discussed, the characteristics of operational. There are various characteristics because the knowledge of the characteristics of an op-amp is important to select a particular op-amp for a particular application. Okay, we can't simply choose any op-amp for any purpose. That's not the correct method. So when we go to the actual design, and design of linear or non-linear circuits using op-amp, we have to select a op-amp based on the specific characteristics of a op-amp. Okay, so something like slew rate, something like CMR or ratio, all that matters. Okay, so for design purpose, that is very important to understand the um, characteristics of a op-amp. Yeah. Okay, this next, I think we can, okay, oh yeah, last class we took, not this one, which example we took is, I think this, okay, somebody's on the line. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so this we discussed, inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, and differential amplifier. Last class we discussed these three cases. Okay, so open loop. All these three cases we discussed for open loop. A differential amplifier, inverting amplifier. Differential amplifier output is the difference of the two inputs connected to non-inverting and inverting input multiplied by the gain of the operational amplifier. This we discussed last class. Similarly, next was inverting amplifier. Output is inverted version of the input multiplied by the gain of the operational amplifier. Similarly, non-inverting input. Output is same as input, but it is amplified by gain of the open loop gain of the op amp. Okay. Last class we saw this, numerical example also. How the output voltage can be very huge, and that is saturating. Output voltage can become saturating. That is a square pulse. It starts generating the square pulse. even for small differential input, even if the differential input is very small, the output becomes very huge, what you call quantity. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this example, okay, to find out the output voltage, given a gain and input voltage, we can directly find out the output. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Piece-based simulation. Okay, no issues. That will simulation thing we'll do it, guys. I'll take one separate class for that. Okay. So for purpose of for completion purpose, I'm rushing through this because for the first time we are referring this document. This Gaikwad, Ramakant Gaikwad. So that's why I'm rushing through this document. Uh, okay, feedback configuration. Okay, yes, now, okay. So now the question here is, um, what is why feedback is required? Okay, it is explained in this, it is explained in detail, but I'll brief it like this. Okay, you go through the document, guys. I request you to read this. Briefly, I'll explain. Okay, let us understand it like this. This is the op-amp, okay, plus non-inverting input, inverting input, and the output. Okay, these are the inputs. Okay, fine. What happens is that open loop configuration again is A, is very huge quantity. It is not suitable for linear applications. Linear application means, let us say input voltage is, for example, let us say 1 millivolts. Let us say, for example, VI. Or let us say VD, for example, differential voltage, let us say it is equal to 1 millivolt. 1 millivolt. I want output to be, so let us say 2 millivolts. Let us say, for example, 2 millivolts. V0. We'll take this example to understand it easily. V0, I want it to be 2 millivolts. I mean to say, this here I mean to say amplitude. Amplitude is 1 millivolt. Amplitude is 1 millivolt. Okay. So now, here the amplitude I want it to be 2 millivolts. Okay. So what is the gain now? What is the output gain of the this operational amplifier? So gain is equal to A, is equal to in fact it is a closed loop voltage gain. So output by input, it is approximately equal to 2. 2 by 1 is 2. 2 is the gain of the operational amplifier. Now it is a input changes by small change in the input voltage. Differential voltage is, let's say, 1.5 millivolts. 1.5 millivolts. Okay. So the output voltage should be, accordingly it should change. When the input changes, what will be the gain is 2. Okay. So what will be the output voltage? Output voltage is gain is 2 into input voltage VI. Okay. Small change in input voltage VID. So it should be 2 into 1.5. It should be 3 volts. Sorry, 2 into 1.5. It should be equal to 3 volts. Sorry, 3 millivolts. I'm sorry, 3 millivolts. Okay, that means guys, what we understand from this example is that small change in the input voltage leads to small change in the output voltage depending on the gain. This can be 2 or this can be 5, 10, whatever it is. We'll take one example. This is just an example. Okay, to have this kind of a controlled environment, we have to have what is known as feedback. We have to have what is known as feedback. Without feedback, op-amp is like free running amplifier. We don't have any control. See, for example, let us say there is no feedback. Let us say it's open loop condition, for example. Okay, input voltage 1 millivolt, output starts saturating. Okay, somebody is on the line. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let us say, for example, if the input voltage is 1 millivolt, even if input voltage is 1 millivolt, output starts saturating. Output starts saturating. What is saturating? It starts generating the square wave. Okay. So this output voltage V0, for example, let's say if the biasing voltage is plus 15 volts and minus 15 volts, output will be approximately saturating at plus 14 volts and minus 14 volts. Minus 14 volts. Okay. Now let us say we change input from 1 millivolt to 1.5 millivolts. 1 millivolt to 1.5 millivolt. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter much. It doesn't matter. Output is still saturating. Even for this condition, output is saturating. Okay. Even for this condition, output continue to saturate. Okay. So this open loop condition is not suitable for a linear application. Linear application means change in input should result in proportional change in the output. Okay, so to achieve that, we have to go for what is known as a feedback. Okay, which feedback? The question is, what feedback? That's the question. Okay, two possibilities when it comes to feedback. It can be feedback, positive feedback or negative feedback. Positive feedback or the other possibility is negative feedback. Negative feedback. Okay, fine. What is positive feedback? Let us understand the yes, in fact, this concept I think you have studied in your ADC course also, a kind of a repetition. Okay, let us understand. Nothing wrong, if things gets clear, that should be very useful. Okay, what is positive feedback? Okay, yes, what happens is that in a positive feedback, this is a non-inverting input, inverting input, output is given back to non-inverting input. Okay, the input is given to inverting input terminal. Okay, fine, something like that. We'll take one example. Okay, if this is the situation, what will happen? Okay, so there is a positive feedback. So there is always sorry, there is always a possibility of that output voltage continue to grow. There is output voltage continue to increase, okay, as the input voltage increases in case of a positive feedback. And one reason, okay, and for example, let us say this slightly modify the circuit. Okay, I'll modify the circuit because I need to discuss with respect to phase shift. I need to discuss with respect to phase shift also. Let us say, for example, this is grounded. Inverting input terminal is grounded. Non-inverting input terminal is given with the input Vi. Okay, Vi that is given to ground. So okay, we are applying the input voltage as Vi. Okay, output voltage is V naught. Because it is a non-inverting input terminal, if the input is positive, output is positive, no problem. Okay, and because the feedback is positive, output continues to increase. And if you consider phase shift, okay, it is 0 degree, 0 degree or 360. Why? Because output is in phase with the input voltage. Positive feedback. Negative feedback on the other hand, what will happen is that guess I'll write the guess I'll write in another color. I don't want to because for discussion purpose I'll write in this. I'll write in another color. Okay, so there is in the negative feedback. For a negative feedback, what happens is that we'll give the output to inverting input terminal. Input is given to non-inverting input terminal. This is okay. Output is given to inverting input terminal. What will happen now? In this case, what happens is that because output is given to inverting input terminal, output voltage decreases because its gain decreases. In the earlier case, the gain increases, and that's why output voltage was increasing. In this case, negative feedback gain decreases, and the phase shift will be approximately equal to minus 180 degree. I'm sorry, let me rewrite this. Phase shift will be approximately equal to minus 180 degree. Why? First of all, why minus? Minus because it is inverting. Output inverts. Okay, and 180 because op-amp will provide phase shift of 180 degree because of the inverting input terminal, because we are giving feedback to inverting input terminal. Okay, so based on this we can have two types of feedback: positive feedback and a negative feedback. Okay, for all linear applications we have to go for a what is known as negative feedback, because negative feedback helps in controlling the operation of the amplifier by controlling the gain of the open loop gain of the amplifier. But whenever there is a feedback, we call the gain as a closed loop gain, represented as ACL. Close. Of course, this representation varies from textbook to textbook. Let us use ACL as the closed loop gain of a op-amp. Okay, so this is the situation. So thereby we have a negative feedback, and negative feedback is always very helpful than compared to positive feedback, because if you read this you'll understand positive feedback is always regenerative feedback. Okay, so it will amplify, but it has its own application. For example, in in oscillatory circuits it is used. We'll see the applications, you know. Say negative feedback is also known as a degenerative feedback, because when it is used, it degenerates or reduces the output voltage amplitude, and in turn reduces the voltage gain. V not reduces means gain also reduces. Very simple. They're related. That's right. Okay. That's what it is. So that's what we discussed just now. Okay. Yes, no problem. So there are some other factors. What are the types of feedback? What are the possible types of feedback? For possibility, voltage series, voltage shunt feedback, and current series and current shunt feedback. Okay. So because see, when we provide feedback like this, the question is, are we providing voltage or current? Is it we are providing voltage or current? So based on that, we have four possibilities: voltage series feedback and voltage shunt feedback. Similarly, current series feedback and current shunt feedback. Let us quickly look into this this type of feedback, guys. Okay, yes, I think the diagram I may have to reduce the size, Okay, hopefully guys this is visible, because I need to reduce the, the size to fit the complete picture into the window. Okay, so first case is voltage series feedback. Second case is voltage shunt feedback. Third one is current current series feedback. Last one is current shunt feedback. Okay, so this is voltage series, voltage how do we series, voltage shunt feedback, and current series and current shunt feedback. Okay. Right. Let's observe this voltage series feedback is to start with. We obtain output voltage across a what you call load. Okay, so because output should be connected to a load, in this let me rewrite again. There is a operational amplifier. Okay, this is the input terminals, inverting non-inverting input terminals. Output, how do we measure? See, if it is open like this, if you measure voltage here, okay, we have to measure output voltage with respect to ground. Let us say somewhere there is a ground. Okay, if you measure this with respect to ground, ideally what happens is that there is no voltage drop. Why? Because this wire sorry, I'm sorry, this connecting wire has some resistance. Okay, and the two, say, where do we measure, how do we measure voltage? Yes, voltage is always measured across the conductor. Okay, if you measure voltage with at this point and the ground, voltage measurement is not proper. Okay, if you measure voltage across this, we are measuring the voltage across this conducting wire. Okay, so thereby a load is connected to the ground. Okay, and voltage is measured across this load. V0 is measured across this load. Okay, so thereby V0 generated across RL, that is fed back as a input to feedback circuit. Okay, what is this feedback circuit? This feedback circuit consists of resistors, and capacitors. Okay, so basically it is made of resistor and capacitor. Of course, when it comes to oscillatory circuit, it consists of inductors. RCL circuit, feedback circuit can be RCL circuit. So the output voltage is fed back as input to the feedback circuit, and output of the feedback circuit represented as VF. Guys, I think it's not clearly visible here. It is VF. Okay, feedback VF. Output of the feedback circuit, it is fed as an input to the operational amplifier. Okay, so this we call it as a voltage series. Why is series? Because output is in series with the input voltage applied to the say we are also applying the input voltage. It's not just the feedback voltage, we are also applying the input voltage. This the example for this is this non-inverting amplifier. We have seen our this non-inverting. Okay, I'll write these three circuit, guys. Okay, one circuit we have seen, voltage follower circuit, so that we can compare that series, that we can directly compare here. One is the voltage follower circuit. How do we write voltage follower circuit, guys? This is the non-inverting, inverting, Okay, so input is given to Vin. I'll write it as Vin. Let me not write the the source, ground, not necessary. Okay, and output is given as input to inverting input terminal. Okay, this is called as a voltage follower circuit. Next is, let us say, inverting amplifier. Inverting amplifier. Inverting amplifier. In inverting amplifier, what happens is, okay, just a second. So this is non-inverting input. This is inverting input. As the name suggests, inverting input, the input should be given to, okay, let me not use this. Okay, input should be given to inverting input. Okay, there is a Vin. Okay, input is given to Vin, and okay, output, what about non-inverting input is, non-inverting input is connected to a ground. Non-inverting input is connected to ground. Okay, and there is a resistor network from output to input. Output to input. Okay, we can call it as R1 and R2. So this is the output voltage V0. I wrote two circuit for the in the entire screen. Now somewhere I need to adjust and write the inverting non-inverting in the amplifier. Okay, this inverting amplifier, correct? Okay, that means, because if you observe this diagram, output voltage is developed. This is the feedback network. This is the actually feedback network. Across R2 we are developing VFB, feedback voltage, that is applied in series with input voltage. That is applied in series with input. So this is an example of a what is known as voltage series feedback. Similarly, let us write the we can also write the what is known as non-inverting amplifier. Let me write somewhere here, non-inverting amplifier. Okay, this non-inverting amplifier is very simple. If we know this, inverting input and non-inverting amplifier is very simple. Okay, input is given to non-inverting input terminal. This is plus, and inverting input terminal is given a feedback. Okay, and through resistor, voltage divider network. This is a voltage divider network. We call it as R1 and R2. R1 and R2. This is output voltage V0. This is output voltage V0. Yes, in all the three circuits, I am assuming that there is a biasing voltage applied. I have not specified separately. Biasing voltage applied. Okay, so easy, very easy to remember. Inverting input inverting amplifier, input is given to inverting input terminal, but output is obtained across this voltage divider network. Okay, non-inverting amplifier, input is given to non-inverting input terminal, but feedback is still given to inverting input terminal. If you see all the three circuits, feedback is always given to inverting input terminal, because we want a negative feedback. We want negative feedback. If you give positive feedback, gone. This will not be useful for any linear applications. Okay, that's all this. Okay, fine. So that is what is known as voltage series feedback. Next is just a second. Yeah, here we go. Next is voltage shunt feedback. Because in this case, what happens is that output voltage is given as a input to the input terminal, but it is in parallel with the input voltage. It is in parallel with the input voltage. Okay, so that it is not in sync with the input voltage. It is in parallel with the input voltage. Okay, so this is what is known as a voltage. Because it is in parallel, we call it as a shunt condition, shunt operation, voltage shunt feedback. Okay, so since we are feeding the output voltage, we call it as a voltage feedback. Okay, so that is the that is the case for a voltage shunt feedback. Okay, similarly, what happens to the current series feedback is output current. See for this we have to understand this. There is a what you call RL, load resistance. Okay, RL. The current, output current flows through RL. IL flows through RL. Okay, in this case, guys observe this. In this case, IL is flowing through this resistance is connected to the output terminals. So thereby, this current flows from the output terminal. Okay, output terminal flows through the load resistance, goes to the feedback network. There's something like this. output current let me write here. Output current flows through the feedback network, okay, and flows into the input terminal through the feedback network. That's what happening here, okay. Feedback network, and it will go to the it will go to the input terminal like this, and in this case it is in series in sync with the input voltage. The example for this is this one, there is inverting amplifier. In this case, this is the example for both the voltage series feedback as well as current series feedback. Current series feedback. Okay, so the current is in sync with the voltage, input voltage applied. Okay, now the question is, how do we know current is in series? Because output is inverted version of the input voltage. Okay, that we measure with respect to voltage. When we consider current, the direction of current is like this, guys. The direction of current like this, and flows into the inverting input terminal of the op-amp. Okay, fine. Yes. At this point, I want to understand one important concept. Okay, where to write? I don't know whether I can extend this page. I'm not sure. I think I can reduce this. I'm not sure. Okay, great. Patience. Okay. Yes. Let us say, for example, let me erase this one. Let me erase here. Okay. Yes. Let us say, for example, when we write, when you consider a current through a conductor. Let us say this is a conductor. Okay. Conductor which has some resistance. The current, when we specify like this, please, what does this direction of current indicates? That is the direction of, there is a conventional direction. There is a conventional direction, but actual current will flow in the opposite direction. That means, what is the flow of current? It is nothing but replacement of holes by the electrons. Okay, so the actual current is flowing in the opposite direction, but the convention what we use is in the opposite direction. Similarly, in this network, sorry, I have to go back here also. In this network, actual current will be flowing from ground. See, why it is flowing from ground is because this, what is ground? 0 volts. The current is here. Okay, that means current is generated at the output terminal. Okay, this current is nothing but flow of electrons. Flow of electrons, negative charges. These negative charges will flow from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, because here there are more of holes, it will flow from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, so thereby this is the conventional direction of current what we take, that is from output terminal to ground. Actual flow of current is from ground to output terminal, because current is replacing the holes. Okay, so with that concept, we have to be very particular. The direction of current is like this. In the textbook they specify like this. Sorry, this tool will open. Okay, in the textbook, of course, they specify like this because there is a convention. Okay, there is a conventional direction of flow of current. Okay, fine. So that's how it is. So thereby, at this point, the current direction is like this. Current direction is like this. So current is fed to the input terminals. Okay, it may be inverting or non-inverting depending on the application. That is either linear applications or non-linear applications. Okay, so that is in sync with the, in series with the what you call input voltage. Voltage current shunt feedback. Output current is fed back to the input, which is in parallel to the input voltage. Okay, so that is what is known as a voltage shunt feedback. Okay, so guys, in our op-amp circuits, practical circuits, depending on the requirement, we go for either of these either of these four combinations, feedback combinations: voltage series, voltage shunt, or current series or current shunt feedback. Voltage series feedback, the formulas is given. Okay, so formulas for the output voltage, feedback voltage, and the input voltage. Okay, something like this. One example, this is a voltage divider network. What is given here is, because if you compare this network, what we have here, it is nothing but voltage divider network that we can see here. Is nothing but this voltage divider network. Okay, it's shown something like that. Okay, Similarly, we have a negative feedback. In the negative feedback, the voltage is given to, as I explained, negative feedback voltage will be fed to the inverting input terminal, and then output will be 180-degree phase out of phase with respect to input voltage. Okay? But it has its own advantages, because this will please observe this last line is voltage negative feedback. So by computing closed loop voltage gain, so input and output, that is it will increase the input resistance, decreases the output resistance, and increases the bandwidth. So there is advantage of making use of using the negative feedback. Okay, closed loop voltage gain, that is with the feedback. With the feedback, closed loop voltage gain can be represented like this. So for a, this is for the what you call inverting amplifier. I'm sorry, yes, this is for non-inverting amplifier. I'm sorry, non-inverting amplifier, closed loop voltage can be represented as output by input. Okay, this if this derivation you can analyze like this. Okay, with respect to this circuit, with respect to this circuit, we can derive the expression for the output voltage using the input voltages V1 and V2, V1 and V2. So VF is the output of the feedback network, that is somewhere here, VF. Yes, I think you can't. Okay, let me zoom in now, because okay, so this is the VF. I think still you may not be able to see that. That is VF is very small print. That when I took this scan, that I took in cam scanner only, so that it will be better. But still, this VF is not clear. Okay, so when measured with respect to VF, just let me quickly go through the derivation. Okay, so VF can be represented as voltage divider network R1 into V0, because V0 is the input for the feedback network, divided by R1 plus RF. That is the series resistance. This one R1, R1 and R2. In this case, we have named it as R1 and R2. The author has named it as R1 and plus RF. Okay, so if you observe this R1 and RF, okay, R1 is the RF is our actual R1. R1 is the R2 of our circuit, what we have written here. Okay, so R1 is the actual RF in the textbook, and this R2 is the R1. Just a naming convention, guys. If you see some textbook, they call it as RA and RB. Just a naming convention. You can use any name. What is there in the name? Okay, but we should not get confused between these two resistors. Okay, that's very important. So we have from this we get VF. Okay, output voltage is gain into difference of these two voltages, that is V1 minus V2. Okay, so when we rearrange this, we can write expression like this for V0 when we rearrange this. Okay, so in this expression, guys, if you observe, we have V0. When we rearrange this, we get Vin. So take this Vin to the denominator, V0 by Vin. Okay, what is V0 by Vin? Is nothing but gain. Of course, now it is closed loop gain because there is a feedback. We get this expression. In this expression, there is an assumption that AR1 is greater than R1 plus RF. Okay, this AR1 factor is because what is gain? Guess open loop gain is very huge. It can go up to 200,000. Okay, so this A into R1 is definitely bigger than R1 plus RF. So ignoring R1 plus RF, we can write it as just AR1. So when we write this, AA cancels. Okay, so we are left with R1 plus RF divided by R1. R1 plus RF divided by R1. This is the expression for a gain of a non-inverting amplifier. This can be rearranged as, can also be rewritten as 1 plus R1 by RF. Very simple. The same equation can also be written as 1 plus R1 by RF by R1. In ideal condition, why ideal condition is because under standard temperature conditions and with all those conditions, this is this is the equation which holds good for the ideal op amps. Okay, yeah. So there's one example. If R1 is 1 kilo ohm and RF is 10 kilo ohm, okay, or one more case, R1 is 100 ohms, RF is 1 kilo ohm, Okay, this in both the cases, what we can see is R1 is smaller than RF. Okay, that is this in our practical circuit, guess I'll take this circuit. I don't know if this will always come to this. Okay, okay, in our case, what we generally practically what should happen is this R2, there is the resistor which is connected to ground. Resistor which is connected to ground should always be less than R1. Should always be very much lesser. It's very much lesser than R1. Okay? That's how we select the resistor values. Okay, there's two typical values, typical design values given in the textbook. Okay, this the one condition is that all external resistor values should be less than 1 mega ohm. Okay, what happens if you select bigger value? Let us say we select R1 as 100K and let us say RF as let us say 1 mega ohm. Okay, the problem is circuit heat dissipation increases. Okay, and it will affect the op-amp performance. As we have understood, resistance value should be as less as possible so that overall power dissipation in the circuit should be smaller. Okay, so that's how it is. Some examples are given. I request you to go through this document, guys. So we can't go, not possible. Okay. Okay, voltage gain. Okay. Okay. In this case, one more observation. If you take only feedback network, and there is this circuit base, this feedback network, input is V0 for this feedback network, output is VF. Similarly, for our circuit, if you take this totally, I may have to rewrite. Input is V0, output is VF. In this context, in this understanding, okay, in this terminology, gain of this feedback network represented as B. Because why B? Why not something else? Because gain of the op amp is represented as A. That's why gain of the feedback is represented as B. That's okay. In some textbook you may find B gain of the feedback network, something else. They use different terminologies. Don't get confused. Probably they are just a naming convention. You can okay. Gain of the feedback network is output. Output of the feedback network, there is VF divided by the input of the feedback network, there is V0. Okay. So when we rearrange the expressions, we'll get it as R1 by R1 plus RF. Okay. Gain of the closed loop overall gain of the op amp is R1 plus RF divided by R1. So sorry, R1 plus RF divided by R1. In this case, it is R1 divided by R1 plus RF. That means gain of the feedback network is inversely proportional to the gain of the overall circuit. Gain of the overall circuit. That is closed loop gain in general. Okay. In other words, from this, I think it is given in this textbook. Let me check it. Okay, it's not mentioned. Okay, no problem. Okay, yes, from this we can conclude that observe this. We can conclude that AF into B is equal to 1. That means product of closed loop gain and the feedback gain should be equal to 1. So this condition we have to follow. This is useful for various applications that we will see. Something like this, in terms of block diagram, we can represent it as A. There is a gain of the operation amplifier. Input is differential voltage. Feedback gain is B. So we can represent it as AB is equal to 1. A into B is equal to 1. Okay. Yeah. Block diagram representation for non-inverting amplifier. Okay. Fine. Okay. Yes. Similarly, okay. So feedback gain AF, okay. So in this expression, what we find is, closed loop gain AF can also be represented in terms of open loop gain and B. Okay. We can represent using this expression. When we simplify this, we get the expression as A divided by 1 plus AB. Okay, where AF is the closed loop voltage gain of the op amp. A is the open loop voltage gain of the op amp that we saw just now. In this diagram we saw that A is the open loop gain of the op amp, B is the gain of the feedback network. Overall gain is AF. Overall gain of the circuit now. Overall gain of the complete circuit is AF. Okay, it can be represented using this. Using this expression. B is the gain of the feedback circuit. Okay, AB is equal to loop gain. AB is also called as a loop gain, where this is equal to approximately equal to 1. Okay, so thereby if this AB is equal to 1, AF can be A divided by 2, approximately A divided by 2. Okay, so what we understand is when we go from this discussion, this AB product is very large, but AB is approximately equal to A, because feedback gain is very, very small compared to A. This factor is very, very small. We can approximate it as A. So if it is approximated it as A, it is as good as writing as we can take it as AB as 1. So we can write it as A divided by 2. That means, guys, there is this closed loop gain, okay, is less than, closed loop gain is less than A. Is less than A. That means we have controlled the open loop gain of an op amp by going for a negative feedback. By going for a negative feedback. That is very important. That is the conclusion from this expression. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So for a differential input voltage 0, okay, V1 is approximately equal to V2. Okay, for differential voltage, it's the same thing, same thing discussed for a differential voltage. Okay, if differential voltage is 0, V1 and V2 are approximately equal. So with assuming that V1 is equal to V2, analysis of the circuit, we get back the same expression. Okay, so that is closed loop gain is equal to 1 plus RF by R1. The same. This we had discussed in our David Abel book also. Input resistance with feedback. Input resistance with okay. So when we have a feedback, what is the effect of feedback on the input resistance RA? Input resistance. Generally, what is RA? Is ideally it is infinite ohms. But how it is affected whenever there is a feedback? Let us understand now. Okay. So for this, we can consider this diagram. Guys, observe here. The feedback is given. Sorry, we need to select the pen. Okay. So feedback is given as a. Guys, see, if you consider this network, it is same as this. Inverting amplifier. See, it is as good as writing. Something like this. Okay. Op amp plus minus. Okay. So this is RF. This is R1. Okay. And feedback is given from the junction of RF and R1 to the inverting input terminal. So this is RF and this is R1. RF and R1. So feedback is given to inverting input terminal and input is given to non-inverting input terminal. It is a non-inverting amplifier. Very simple. Okay, so it is rearranged like this. In some author writes it as R1. They'll write something like this. From this junction, they'll give it to ground. One and the same. Another way of representing. Okay, so in this condition, there is what happens to the effective input resistance. Effective input, not this one. Sorry, not this one. This one. What happens to this array in the presence of feedback network? That you have to understand, because for a open loop op amp, when you consider only the open loop circuit without any feedback, this array is very, very large. Very large. Ideally, as we understood, infinite ohms. But practically not possible. Practical circuits has its own, limitations. Okay, so this derivation in considering the current. As you observe this, there is a voltage V in, there is a current. So this RA is equal to V by I. R is equal to V by I. V is the input voltage, and I is the current. The input current to the non-inverting input terminal. Yeah, so considering that condition, we can express RIF as V in by IIN. Okay, so IIN is nothing but the differential current divided by RI. Okay, but this is the input resistance with feedback, because it's going to modify. Okay, so differential voltages, input voltages V naught by A, and V naught is equal to this, which just now we have understood. How do we arrive at this? That is by considering the gain, closed loop gain. We can write output voltage as A divided by 1 plus AB, because this is equal to VF. Sorry, AF. I'm sorry, guys. Feedback voltage gain with feedback. AF into Vin. AF into Vin. Okay. So considering this expression for the input and output voltage, input is the differential input voltage VID. Output voltage is V naught. Okay. So RAF can be written as RA into that expression, guys. VI divided by V naught into A, because for output voltage we can write it as input voltage, differential input voltage, we can write rearrange it as V naught by A, V naught by A. So from this expression, rearranging this expression, A taking it to the numerator because it is at the denominator, V naught by A, take it to the numerator, A into Ri, V in divided by A into V in divided by 1 plus F, that is gain of this VF, this factor. Okay, V naught. When we substitute for V naught in this expression, when we substitute for V naught in this expression and expanding and rearranging, we can write the expression as Ra into 1 plus AB. Okay, that means what is the conclusion from this? Okay, conclusion is that, please observe this. In this case, what is Ra? Open loop input resistance. That is this one. In the circuit, if you see, there is nothing but this Ra. This is very large. This is very, very large. Open loop feedback. Okay, that is Ra. It's very large quantity into 1 plus AB. One is okay, very small, compared to other quantities, one is very small. B is gain of the feedback. A is the gain of the open loop gain of the op-amp. See, open loop gain can go up to maximum of 200,000. It can go up to maximum of, okay. So thereby, with the negative feedback, input impedance increases. With a negative feedback, input impedance increases. That is the advantage of having a negative feedback. Let's imagine, let us say RAF. We'll take one example, yes. RAF is, let us say, for example, 1 mega ohm. For example, sample example, A, let us take 50,000 least open loop voltage gain guaranteed by the the manufacturer. Okay, what is this factor? Okay, so Ri is not RAF, sorry, this is Ra, guys. Sorry, not RAF, this is Ra. There is open loop input impedance Ra. Okay, so when you calculate this value, it is 1 mega into 1 plus 50,000. I'm considering minimum guaranteed gain into B. Okay, B will it depends on the RA and RF. Okay, I'll take it as B as it is. Okay, definitely this factor is definitely bigger than 1 mega ohms. Obviously, this is 1 plus this factor, it is bigger than 1 mega ohm. This is definitely larger than 1 mega ohm. Okay, that means conclusion from this derivation is that with the negative feedback, input impedance increases. That is represented as RAF. Input impedance, effective input impedance increases. But this factor depends on what is known as a stray capacitance. That not part of the course. Whenever we come across, we'll discuss. Okay, so this RAF actually is affected by the input stray capacitance. That's a drawback. We'll see that later. But ideally, this is ideal condition, of course. Ideally, RAF factor increases rapidly because of the negative feedback. Okay, so that is, I think, is explained in the last sentence. This means that the input resistance of the feedback is 1 plus AB times that without feedback. Without feedback, input impedance is Ri. With feedback, it is multiplied by 1 plus AB. Very huge quantity, very, very large quantity. Okay, anyway, output resistance. Okay, just 2 more minutes. Output resistance with feedback. Output resistance is R0. Okay, R0. What happens to this R0 with feedback? if it is given here, okay, it's given here, output resistance with this, sorry for the scanning, this page I could not scan it properly. I didn't notice, that's why this is very, it looks very, it looks very bad. Okay, ROF V naught by I naught, that is output impedance. Okay, and output impedance, okay, is the for this we need to consider I naught. I naught is this is, yeah, I naught is given here. Okay, if you consider I naught, it is the combination of IB and IO. IB or IO, okay, sorry, it's not clear here. Just a second, and let me check in this expression. IA plus IB. It's IA, no? IA is flowing into August. Just a second. It is represented here. IA is not given here. I not this August. This is IA. I think it's not clearly. Sorry. Yeah, this is IA. Correct. This is IA. The scanning is not proper, so it's not clear. This is IA, and this is that means output current. As I said, current direction, actual current direction is like this. It will flow from ground. This is ground condition, that is 0 volts. Output current flow like this. It is split into two currents. One is IA, which flows into the output terminal, and another one which flows into the feedback terminal. Okay, that is represented as IB. So if we consider these two currents, there is a output component of the output current. So we can write it as I naught is equal to IA plus IB. Okay. In this case, the current flowing into IA, that is output terminal, is definitely larger. Why? Because it should be larger, because if you consider feedback network is a resistive network. Okay. What is the current flowing through the resistor? Is very small. If the R is very large, current is very, very small. So thereby, this current IB should be smaller than compared to IA. Very simple. Simple resistive network concept. Okay, DC resistive network concept. We have we have studied. So thereby, I naught we can consider it as approximately equal to IA. Approximately equal to IA. Okay. One more observation is that RF plus R1 is greater than is in parallel combination now. Okay, this parallel combination is like this. Observe this. This is the parallel combination. Okay, there is RF plus R1. Why RF plus R1? Why not? Why not? RF in parallel with R1. Because if you consider this current IB flows into two networks. One is through RF. I think I can use another color so that yes, I'll take only 2 minutes. Okay, so I'll wind up with this. So IB flows into two terminals, two networks. One is through RF and to the ground. Okay, so let us call it as IB, or dash. Okay, just for our understanding. Another current will flow into the input terminal of the inverting input terminal of the op amp. Let us call it as IB double dash, just for understanding purpose. IB double dash. Okay. This okay. What is this IB double dash? This IB double dash is nothing but the input current of the inverting input terminal. In the earlier characteristics of a op amp, we have understood that for a 741 op amp, for example, the maximum input current which flow into the inverting input terminal is 500 nanoamperes. Maximum is 500 nanoamperes. Very small. The input current which flows into the op amp terminal is very, very small. Okay, that means IB double dash is very much smaller compared to IB dash. That means maximum current will flow through series combination of RF and R1, and very small current will flow to the inverting input. So thereby we consider this RF and R1 as a series connection, not parallel connection, based on the current flow. Okay, so this concept we have to understand this. You see, if you see the network as it is, it looks like RF and R1 are in parallel combination. It's like this is RF, sorry, this is R1 and this is RF connected to N, connected. And this looks like this is RF and this is R1, and this is going to inverting input terminal. There is negative inverting input terminal. Okay, so it looks like RF and R1 is series. Sorry, parallel combination. But based on the current, magnitude, we can consider that as series combination. Okay, So based on that understanding, we take RF and R1 as series combination, which is in parallel with RA, which is in parallel with RA. Observe this RA is sorry. Oh yeah, which is this series network is in parallel with RA. Okay, because there is this resistance exists, so this is RA. So this RF R1 plus RF is in parallel with RA. Okay, so considering the condition, RF plus R1 in parallel combination with RA is very much larger compared to R, because R0 is very small quantity. This factor is still larger than R0. Okay. This takes some time. This understanding. This discussion takes time. That's why I'll continue in the next classes. This takes more than 5-10 minutes because you will have a laboratory also. I also have the laboratory in the afternoon. Okay, I'll continue with this discussion. Okay. Um, okay, that's fine. Thanks for joining this. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe. Take care. Bye. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Good day. Good day. Good day. Bye.